up for your right. Get up.
A few days ago, we all saw the rumblings that went on in Katsina. Apparently, the youths of Katsina are getting up to talk against the influx of strangers into Katsina State, which happens to be the state of the president. It really is unacceptable, I think, when people like that are called bandits. I think it really does not emphasize the gravity of what Nigerians are facing. It really doesn't emphasize the gravity of it when you refer to them as bandits, reducing it to just mere criminality, or when you refer to them as headsmen, farmers clashes. It makes the killing, the beheading, the killing of children, the burning up of communities, and reducing the ownership of the community, the indigenous people of those communities, chasing them out of their ancestral land. When you say that it is headsmen, farmers clash, it reduces it once again to criminality. That is not what it is. It is pure and simple, a very frightening situation. I wouldn't say turn of events, because unfortunately they've been going through this for decades. It is really only now that in the past decade or so that even people like me, are becoming aware, because they are coming very close to home front. I mean, you see them in your community. And then you have to ask yourself, if you have a brain that works, that you have to ask yourself, when you wake up in the morning and you find strangers in your community, you have to ask yourself, who are these people, and what are they doing, and what are they doing here? So in a factual kind of way, the fact that people will rise up in the state of the president of Nigeria to talk against and resist and say no to the influx and of people who are coming in to kill them. Unfortunately, again and again, we have to remind ourselves that when President Buhari and APC came into power in 2015, one of the things that he accepted as a president was that the people coming into Nigeria through the porous borders of the north are actually not Nigerians. They are non-Nigerians. And we had a president of a country say that on CNN to Christian Amanpour. Then later on, we had some governors, some leaders of thought from the Fulani background, saying that every person from who is a Fulani person, not minding whether they are Nigerians or not, are actually Nigerians and are welcome to Nigeria. Now, these are facts that we have, unfortunately, and then I reduce myself from that immediately. Some Nigerians have accepted that it is okay to call on non-Nigerians to come into Nigeria as Nigerians because they claim to have some people that they identify as their kith and kin through their ethnicity or their religion or their culture. Also, about either the beginning of this year or late last year, whenever the president traveled to Egypt or somewhere, one of the Arab countries, for a meeting, while we actually, before COVID-19, while actually we have been told that our borders have been shut and that you need to prove whom you are before you come into Nigeria, the president contradicted that position by saying that anybody can come into Nigeria and that you will be processed as at the point of entry. So, for instance, you can fly in and land in Port Harcourt, and you'll be processed in Port Harcourt as coming in. Now, you obviously, if you're flying in, you would have had to have a passport. If you're coming in by through the borders, that is in what is identified as the northern part of Nigeria, by bicycle or motorbikes or whatever, you don't have to have a passport or even any form of identification. That when you get to where you are coming in from, you will be processed at that point. So you can leave Mali or Niger or wherever you prefer and get to maybe Niger State or any of the border states, and then you'll be processed to come into Nigeria. So basically, you can be a non-Nigerian, get to that border, and since they will process you, the documentation they will give you will be Nigerian documentation. So you can just wake up one morning as someone, as a Niger citizen, and by nightfall you can be a Nigerian citizen. That is the process. That is what it looks like, and actually that is what have been going on. So it is good for them that they are protesting. Now, I'm just wondering, what if someone like Ann Kilbriggs calls for a protest in Rivers State to protest against people who are coming in while yam and onions and peppers and cattle are coming in and don't have any documentation, and we say, no, you cannot come into Rivers State if you cannot prove that you are a Nigerian citizen with documentation on you. So if you are coming in, if you're bringing in a truckload of say vegetables or peppers or cattle, that only 2 people or so can be allowed in, and then after they have offloaded, they will have to leave, because that was why they came. Now, if a protest like that is organized the same way this protest is going on in Katsina, which is their right to protest against the killings and of their kith and kin in their homes, and the taking over of their land in wherever they are. If we organize a similar protest, even for similar reasons, I wonder what will happen. It's just a thought. So there is a need for us to continue to have a rethink as a people. There is a need for us to continue to reappraise our situation and our circumstances, and how some part of Nigeria is able to apply the 1999 Constitution when it suits them and disregard the 1999 Constitution when it suits them. It is really up to us from this point on. It has always been our right, and therefore always up to us to stand firm and make sure that we actually are able to demand for what is just and fair for us as a people in Rivers State and in the Niger Delta region, or some people politically it is referred to as the South-South geopolitical zone. Why is it that we as a people, as the electorate, and the political leadership, the governors, are not able to do this? A few weeks ago, the Métis Allah made that statement and said that they are going to form or create their own security outfit in all the states of Nigeria. And then a few days later, some leaders of thought and themselves started retracting what they have said. That should be a matter of serious concern. Before COVID-19, the Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement, in January up to February, after Amatekun was formed, wrote 2 letters to the South-South Governors Forum, requesting that the 6 governors of the 6 states that make up the Niger Delta, or if you prefer, the South-South geopolitical zone, under the Governors Forum and under the Braised Commission. So whichever way you look at it, because the Braised Commission is the 6 states that make up the Niger Delta: Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, and Delta. That's the spelling of the Braised Commission. So we called on them to follow suit and set up a security body for the 6 states, because it will cover our borders. As our borders, we go from one state to the other. Now, if the next region, if the next geopolitical zone to the Niger Delta people, which is our neighbors, if they also set up their own security outfit, then we're beginning to see a synergy of security. And this synergy of security, we already have a synergy, or an economic synergy. What I think we don't have yet is a developmental synergy. Now, if we are not able to come together as the 6 states of the Niger Delta region that make up the so many ethnic nationalities that we have in the Niger Delta, if we're not able to come together to work for our security, not to talk of our development and our economy, if we're not able to come together to work for our security, I'm very worried. And I ask myself, what then are we going to be able to come together and work for? I do understand that the governors particularly swore an oath with the 1999 Constitution. But in that oath that they swore to defend the unity, if you like, or the country Nigeria, or to work towards the good of Nigeria as a country, they also cannot even achieve that unless they are prepared first to work for the good of the states that they govern one and for the region that they all belong to too. It is these two things that make them, that justifies their claim to being Nigerians. So the governors, with what have happened with COVID-19 and with what is happening across the world that kicked off in America as black people in America resisting injustice, resisting racism. We in Nigeria, actually, the Niger Delta ethnic nationalities, meaning all the ethnic nationalities in that region. I am not telling you who you are. That's not my point. You know who you are. I can't tell you who you are, and you cannot tell me who I am. I'm not telling you who you are, but wherever you are located within this geographical area, that is your land. Whatever language you speak, that is your language. Whatever culture you practice, that is your culture. And whatever religion you choose to belong to, that is your religion. Now, the most important thing for each and every one of us, individually and as a people that are identified as whoever that you have agreed that you are, is an issue of your rights. What are these rights? When you know these rights, you will know how to protect these rights. And these rights gives you the right to work with whom you want to work with, and don't work with whom you don't want to work with. But it is natural that if you live close to somebody else, that there is some kind of affinity, there is some kind of relationship. Even your next door neighbor, if you see someone breaking into your next door neighbor's front door that you have not seen before, that you don't know, even if you don't want to interfere, there is always that curiosity to know what is going on and who is this person and all of that. So it applies when you come to politics. It applies when you come to development. So it is very, very critical for my survival and hopefully the survival of my people and my neighbors to be interested in making sure that we watch each other's backs. So the only way we can watch each other's backs is on acknowledgement and agreement. For instance, if you wash something and it's outside and it is raining and you're not in, it should be natural that your neighbor would see that rain is falling and would know that if you don't come out to take what you have spread outside, that you're not in. Otherwise, you will come out to take your cloth. It should be instinctive that you will go and take in what your neighbor has spread outside. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. There is no neighborliness in that. So you will, I'm assuming, automatically do that. And so it therefore goes along that same line. And where we are today in Nigeria, that need is very essential if we all are to survive. Not politically. Not politically. That need is not a political need. It is a need of doing what is right. And in Nigeria, I've come to see that politics is not based on doing what is right. It is rather based on doing what is good for the political party. Right now, today in the Niger Delta, there is one such case. I'm not going to go into it because really and truly, I'm not a political person. But I am interested in politics, and I'm not taking sides or the other. But while this began to unfold, I saw the type of neighborliness and concern that I am referring to right now. And so that is what happens when you see something not right, bad, happen to your brother and happen to your neighbor. It is right and proper that you have that natural instinct to ask that person, are you okay? How are you doing? Are you doing okay? This was what transpired over the weekend, and that alone sustains that person as a person. But now, when it happens in the circumstances of politics, it is good for the region. It is good for the people of the state, and therefore it is good for all the states, because what is happening is that they are watching each other's back. Now, for the Niger Delta to be able to move forward, to be able to do the right, to start doing the right thing for the people and the region, even if this is the first time this is happening, it is good. Because first, when you are on the same platform and understanding, then you work better. So, up till now, we have a Niger Delta of 6 states, of 5 states being on one political party platform, and then 1 state being on another political platform. Therefore, that in itself, up to a level, is not good for the region. The way politics is played in Nigeria is not good for the region. And so, the gathering of the other governors around the governor of Edo State right now, whether he has left the political party, he has not left the political party, is not the point. The issue I want us to concentrate on is that here was somebody in our region, in his state, that something was going on that in the end will not be in the interest of the region, not to talk of in the interest of the state. In that state, they have people who are members of different parties. Yes, I accept that. But the interest at any level of politics or political party should be the people. And so I am impressed with the rallying round of the other governors to Obaseki. Now, which other way, whatever else happens, it must be in the interest of first the people of Edo State, and then in the interest of the people of the Niger Delta region, because we may have different cultures, and we do, and we speak different languages, and we have different religion. But the most important thing is that we now are beginning to see, even outsiders are beginning to see, even the people who want to divide us, whether they be investors, whether they be oil companies, whether they be investors, whether they be political cabal, whatever they are, let them begin to understand that what happens in Edo to any indigene of Edo State will affect Delta State and will affect all the indigenes or some of the indigenes of Delta State or any other state for that matter. That is brotherhood. That is what we need in the Niger Delta, because other people do it. The Yorubas do it, and the people who claim that Nigeria belongs to them also do it. And so if we begin to do it, it can only work in our interest as a people of the region, not only as ancient people alone or Ndokwa people alone, or no matter your ethnic nationality, as long as you know that after yourself, the next person you should look out for is your neighbor, I think that we have started to go in the right direction, and I thank God for that, and I see that it will work out in our interest. We must hold firmly to who we are at the ethnic nationality level. We must hold firmly to who we are at the state level, local government level, and we must hold firmly to who we are at the geopolitical zone level and at the Niger Delta level.